So this is Mandy with Soulfully Soil, and I have Bobbi of Goddess Sink here sitting with me. We were just having this brilliant conversation, and we thought we'd let the rest of you in on it because it seems profoundly relevant to, well, both of our lives, I would say, and a lot of the conversations we've been having in our worlds with a variety of different people. So anyways, we were talking about choice. I know it's not just choice. Even saying the word choice is like, I think impulse is probably like, but to choose and choose again, and not being held into some agreement that we've either silently or verbally, entered into.
Which leads to the conversation of outcomes, right? So, if you're fixed on an outcome, you take away your ability to choose.
Yeah.
Or half of your choices.
Yes. Choosing. Let's talk about choosing. Let's talk about our choice. We decided we were going to have tea and create a beautiful creative space for us to sit and meander through our thoughts. And so there was this, it's a holiday today, and there's this, let's find a coffee shop, and all the regular beautiful places that we would normally support were all closed. And so we drove around looking for places to arrive at, and my decision was based on it being quiet and more appropriate to record with. And so as we're sitting here, I can hear the pop music pumping in the background and the sounds of the barista doing what she's doing. And so when I don't choose from an internally referenced intuitive space that's more of a deep knowing than a logical figuring out, this is what I get. And we're in Starbucks to boot, which is like, I don't even know what to equate that to, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't have been our impulse, I think. So sometimes we make choices based on what somebody else hands us as reality. So it's a holiday. We figure that there's going to be certain places open and certain places not, and rather than going from this beautiful magic that comes from the inside out, we choose logically based on what somebody else has lined up for us. And how often do we do that? So that's a choice. For me, indicates that there's been things laid out ahead of time, like A, B, C, or D, the obvious choices. So if somebody else can agree with you that this is what you can choose from, then that becomes, I'm going to make a choice from it. Whereas creation from an internal perspective is almost intangible without language sometimes, but it's like, this is what I want, and then that thing arrives in what are the steps necessary to get there, as opposed to your parents. The analogy I always think of is, as kids, we're offered, what would you like for supper, or what would you like on your sandwich? You can have ham or you can have roast beef. It's never presented as, here's everything in the fridge, what do you want? Or even, we could go to the store. We're limited when someone else sets up choice. We're limited by their perception of whatever the situation is. And that isn't choice. I mean, that's choice. It's not. There's another language. There's a piece I can't quite put my tongue on, but it's not. Yeah, so rather than working with the building blocks that are provided or that I perceive or that somebody else perceives, it's like making my own building blocks in whatever direction it's place I want to go to. Not allowing things like, when we're talking about a purchase of a house, not allowing things like traditional methods of achieving a mortgage to stand in the way, because you get really pigeonholed. There's really limited choice in that. Whereas if you create from an energetic internal space, the feeling of and what you want to create, I think that's the difference between manifesting and creating, is that framework exists inside of me. I exhale it to the world, and then the steps and the blocks needed to create that appear, as opposed to, here's my 12 things that you can work with, make something work. That's just recreating within an old paradigm.
And I know that everything that's real and true for me in this moment has been completely reconfigured and redefined and completely reconstructed, I feel, in the last even 6 months. I am a completely different person, inside and out, on all levels. And so my ability to see and feel and create magic is 10,000-fold what it was. And so I feel very blessed that I no longer see my choices from inside the box. I see my choices as infinite possibility, based absolutely nothing to do with magic, and everything to do with knowing that I'm the creator of my own universe. And knowing that, however illogical it may seem, I am living my dream. I'm doing it against all logical odds. I am learning and growing and playing and frolicking in this magical potential of creation. And the infinite possibility is, I can feel it. Like I can feel the vibration around me, that choice is all mine. And my limitations are only as limited as my views. And so, go big or go home. And that's what it feels like. I just feel like I'm on this cusp of like this, I want to say like leap, but I've leapt. So I'm in the free fall and recognizing that I can stop in anywhere along the way, and then I can leave, and I can stop in again and choose again, and it just all feels so fucking spacious.
I hear freedom.
Yes. Freedom.
Not pigeonholed to what you chosen 10 minutes ago, but knowing that it's an open-ended invitation to choose and choose again. Because when we live by the context or the presupposition that there is no good, bad, right, or wrong, and I get to choose and choose and choose again. There's no parameters on that.
In all aspects, with all things.
Yeah, it doesn't just exist in my parenting, but not in my relationship with my partner. It doesn't just exist in my business, but it exists in my whatever family systems or.
And feeling that way and living that way, it gives everybody I touch the freedom to choose for themselves and recognize that yes, I can create my world. My 5-year-old, my 7-year-old, my 20-year-old, they all have that visual, I guess, that freedom, that recognition that, yeah, I might choose this in this moment, but I'm not stuck in that choice. I have the freedom to choose again. And so if I find myself unhappy, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Look no further than your own front door.
Right. And own your shit.
Own your shit. My life is about me. Your life is about you.
I still think we
How radical. We are going to get t-shirts made up that say that.
Oh my god. Yes. I want them in every color.
Yeah. Rainbow color, preferably.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really radical notion. Yeah, it's like, it just wasn't modeled to me to be able to choose, first of all, for myself, just openly, not without the expectation that you should just choose in alignment with the people who are taller than you. Because there's always that underlying thing of, oh yeah, you can choose what drink do you want. And then you look at your kid like, don't choose the Pepsi. I'm owning that one for myself. It's the illusion of choice. It's the illusion of freedom. It's the illusion of free will and manifesting your own world.
Yeah.
And it's like breaking through those subtle ways that are provided as illusion and fully knowing that I can choose and create for myself. And that's taken the better part of 35 years of my life to come to know. And we give our kids choices. I give my kids choices, and they're not choices. They're just what I spoke of. Like, yes, you can do this or that, but I'm not willing to do that. So it limits their choice. I think it's not so much that I accommodate all of that. It's more that I'm honest and open and authentic with myself first about, this is actually about the fact I don't want to drive to town. So I am limiting their choices very mindfully. And they are open to create something different for themselves by asking another parent or a friend or whatever. That's very different. And that isn't in a box. That's totally unended, open-ended. I've made a choice for myself and my world. Now you get to choose for yourself and your world, and we can all have what we want. Because I think the underlying belief around me choosing for me is that you have less because I've chosen for me. And as a family unit, that doesn't work. Or hasn't in a typical family situation, in an old paradigm. And in a new paradigm, it's like, I want you to have what you want to have, but I still have free choice in that. I still get to choose where I interact with that and what feels right and meaningful. I hear that you want this right now, or you want to do that right now, and how does it feel for me? Yes, it's meaningful to make you a snack, or no, it's not. And that reciprocity, that give and take between people, I think becomes paramount. It in reciprocity with myself first, not in servitude.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I've said it before, I've spent 20 years of my life parenting in servitude, expecting gratitude.
It doesn't come. It's weird, hey? Servitude does not go hand in hand with gratitude. There's nothing to be grateful for when you're in service, because it's like, that's my job, my role.
Yeah. And a lot of the conversations we've been having, especially with my 5-year-old, is how can you honor yourself while I honor me? Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm willing to do. Like, maybe it's choices in dinner. I'm willing to make you this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And how can you honor yourself in that while I honor myself, because I am not making you another 5 more things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, choose again.
Well, and we could get caught. I have been caught in the role of mother, the responsibility of mother, where there's expectations and rules and dogma to follow that I don't even pay attention to. And then in that moment, it's like, oh, well, a good mother would, blah, 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 or a good father would, blah, blah, blah. And it's recognizing those rules as they come up and they approach. It's when I'm feeling like the shoulds, right? The shoulds. When you're shoulding yourself, you stop, take a breath, check in. Is this meaningful or is this a should? And then really, for me, is that belief about what a mother should be, is that important to me? Is it meaningful? Nope. Okay, so let's make a choice from that. Yeah. That's the truth I carry, so let's make a choice from there. Yeah. Or, yes, it is important. I want to live in servitude, although I can't imagine anybody, unless you're in fear of, no.
Or as we're recognizing those layers, right? I was just having a conversation this morning about how tricky we are. Like, we think we're letting things go, but it's not until we've actually let go and looking back, we realized how much we were still holding on to, and the different layers of that, and the protection and the falling away and what that looks like. But my greatest example right now about holding on to the good mother, bad mother, whatever that is, and the shoulds in that. One of my kids was pointing the other day, and I said, "Oh, don't point." And so the other one's like, "Oh, why not point?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. That's my mother's rule. Point at whatever you want to." And just that real recognition of, that's not my rule. Mm-hmm. That holds no meaning for me. Another example is bubbles in the house. Don't blow bubbles in the house. Yeah. So I'd walk around saying, "Don't blow bubbles in the house. Don't blow bubbles, blah, 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 blah." And so finally I was like, who cares? Blow bubbles in the house. So then my oldest comes along and he's like, I thought we weren't allowed to blow bubbles in the house. I was never allowed to blow bubbles in the house. And I said, yeah, that was my mother's rule too. Just realized that I don't choose to own it. So, if there's bubbles on the floor, maybe then we mop when we're done.
The sitting too close to the TV or you'll go blind, or like don't drive without, you can't drive barefoot, or I don't know. There's just a lot of really unnecessary and outdated and automatic things that still live inside of me.
Yeah. So if you're living in the trance, you can't see that you're just in a trance.
Yeah. Going along with what your body has picked up as rules and regulation, and your brain really likes that.
Yeah. And when you own it and you recognize you're in the trance and you're just repeating someone else's words, it's really freeing to just let that go. And your kids see, that's not mine. That holds no meaning for me. And it gives them permission to maybe not hold on to some of your weird and quirky rules for their whole life, which may, rock your boat in the moment when they choose they don't have to listen to you. But what a gift is that? Yeah. My life is mine. Yeah. Your life is yours.
Yeah. And it becomes the permission they need to choose for themselves. Because until we're willing to choose again, and we model that, they never, ever will have access to it. They will be doomed to live. I watch my oldest, that does this all the time. He is completely inflexible with everything in the world. Whatever there's rules about, he adheres to. Mom, you're not allowed to park here. That sign says that. Mom, you can't open that bar before you go to the till to pay for it. Mom, you can't. And it's like, man, wow, what a reflection of where I stood when I parented him. And then we have the youngest one, who rules are just merely a guideline in all ways, shapes, and forms, and the girl as well. And it's like, it's hard sometimes as a parent when they do make choices like that for themselves, because it makes me feel uncomfortable, especially if somebody else is going to witness my unruly goddamn children. But what I create is this dynamic of those two choosing for themselves quite happily, like at the just anarchy of everybody else around them, and then the oldest one trying to keep them all in line and what that brings for him. And yeah, it's I think about them at the hockey game, at the Hurricanes games, and hanging on the rails, and you're not allowed to hang on the rails. And the point where Brooklyn and Aspen decided they're just going to hang on the rails, and then the security guard coming over and talking nasty to them, and Bauer wishing he could die because he got in trouble, and then the other two coming over to Mark saying, that lady wasn't very nice to us, where my partner had overheard how this woman was speaking to them. So he ended up going to have a conversation with her about the manner in which he was dealing with the kids, but what it evoked in their choice, mindful choice to break the rules and hang on the rail for them, and then watching Bauer's, and then Mark talking to the guard just caused such a ruckus in Bauer's body, because you can't even have a conversation about things that are uncomfortable and conflicting, and like it's one example of what we do when we hold so rigid to the rules and the dogma and the beliefs in our system, and we don't create them for ourselves. Some people would say, I have no need to hang on those rails, and other people really want to hang on the rails, and sometimes only because it's a rule, right?
Yeah.
How we get there is irrelevant. The fact that we can choose is what's important.
Yeah.